In 2015, Star Wars moved forward with the sequel trilogy. The Force Awakens was the first movie in that series. Here's my review of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to my series of reviews on the Star Wars movies. Today we're on the 7th installment of the Star Wars saga, which is Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Released in 2015, the story follows Rey, a scavenger on the planet Jakku. Also follows Finn, a rogue stormtrooper who has defected and is now wanting to work with the Resistance. And also, the dark side character in this movie is Kylo Ren, who we find out is Han Solo and Princess Leia's son, Ben. The story of The Force Awakens follows Rey, a scavenger on the planet Jakku who stumbles across a droid, BB-8, who has a map leading to Luke Skywalker, who has vanished in recent years and gone into seclusion. She meets Finn, a First Order stormtrooper who cannot cope with what the First Order is doing, so escapes and just wants to be on the run. He gets drawn into the world of the Resistance alongside Rey, and they steal a spaceship. The ship they steal turns out to be the Millennium Falcon, and what do we know? Before long, she manages to meet with Chewbacca and Han Solo. The original cast are used to great effect here. The movie isn't theirs, the movie is entirely the new cast's movie. However, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher are there to support the new cast, and they do a fantastic job. Harrison Ford is absolutely fantastic as Han Solo. Chewbacca is as good as ever, and Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, while isn't used as much as she potentially could have been, is absolutely awesome, as she is in every movie that she's done. So with the First Order hunting them down, Rey, Finn, Han and Chewie managed to get BB-8 and the map to the Resistance. And in this movie, the Resistance, which replaces the Rebellion in the original trilogy, have to defeat the First Order's new super weapon, Starkiller Base, which is basically like another Death Star, only bigger because it's a whole planet. And one of my favourite scenes is when Han and Finn try to go and rescue Rey, who's been held captive on Starkiller Base, and the stormtroopers are looking for her. No one can find her. She's escaped from being held prisoner, and yet Han and Finn just turn around and she's there climbing up the wall. The Force Awakens is a very good movie. It's a movie I really enjoyed, but I cannot, and everybody that watches the movie cannot help draw parallels between this and the original Star Wars movie from 1977. The movie basically mirrors that original movie, and J.J. Abrams has done a very good job of drawing the parallels in and making everybody feel very comfortable with this movie. Watching it, you just feel like it's a nice, warm, cushy blanket around you. You feel warm watching it. You feel like this movie is something that you've seen before, because essentially it's the same story that we got with Star Wars: A New Hope in 1977. Granted, it's brought right up to date. There are a few slight changes here and there, but this movie is so familiar and draws a lot from that original movie that it is just a little bit too close at times. Granted, these things aren't new. This has been a point of discussion for a while since the movie came out, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. J.J. Abrams has played it safe here because he was rebooting a whole new, essentially part of the franchise. This was the first movie that Disney were in charge of, and they couldn't afford for this movie to fail. J.J. Abrams was a really good bet to bring on as the director, and he has done an absolutely awesome job here. The visuals are first class. The acting is top notch. I can't really draw any issues with this movie other than it so closely mirrors that original movie. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, as I've said, because it does make you feel comfortable. It makes you feel like you know this world. We do. We all know this Star Wars universe, and this movie really plays on that. The central villain, Kylo Ren, is a very, very different villain than we got with Darth Vader. He isn't fully developed. He has mood swings, and he has severe mood swings. And there's a couple of funny scenes where he literally is trashing things with his lightsaber, which, by the way, it looks absolutely awesome with the jagged edges. It isn't a smooth lightsaber like everybody else's. It looks truly amazing. And when he is literally tearing parts of the base to pieces with this lightsaber, and stormtroopers see what's happening, turn around and walk the other way, it is very, very amusing. The movie itself is actually quite funny. I really did smile at places, and while not a comedy, it does draw a smile, and there's a few nice cameos in there as well. The Daniel Craig scene in particular stands out to me when Rey is learning to use the Jedi mind trick. She's only just been introduced to the Force 10 minutes earlier, but already she's starting to explore the Force, she's starting to use the Jedi mind tricks, and we see this done to great effect on a weak-minded stormtrooper when Rey is held prisoner. Now, I'm not going to get into any spoilers here, although I think pretty much everybody has or pretty much should have seen this movie by now, but it is very emotional in places. It is played with so much emotion that when I saw one particular part of the movie, my jaw just dropped and I just couldn't believe it had happened. We were all expecting it. This had been talked about for quite a long time, but even so, when it happens, it is very, very hard hitting. Moving on, performances. Daisy Ridley does an absolutely fantastic job as Rey. She really does play this part well. John Boyega is superb as Finn, and Adam Driver is really, really top-notch as Kylo Ren. It will be very interesting to see where these characters go in The Last Jedi, which is out in literally days, and I just cannot wait. It is going to be amazing. I have my ticket already, and I cannot wait to go and see it and put a review up here as soon as I can. Other performances, Carrie Fisher, superb, we expected nothing less. Harrison Ford is absolutely amazing as a slightly jaded and older Han Solo. I cannot pull any issue with any of these. The only issue I really have, and it was something that was never actually promised but we all expected it, Luke Skywalker is only in it for a very, very minuscule amount of time, and the whole movie is leading the search for Luke Skywalker, and when they eventually find him, well, let's just say he didn't get enough screen time, but it sets up The Last Jedi fantastically, and I cannot wait to see Mark Hamill's performance in that. So, The Force Awakens, what are my basic thoughts on it? I thought it was a really good reintroduction to the universe. I loved the movie. It was really, really good to see a movie in the Star Wars franchise. And bear in mind, we hadn't had a truly, truly awesome movie since 1980 with The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, Revenge of the Sith was the best of the prequels, but still, this movie really recut what Star Wars was all about for me, and I absolutely loved watching it. Looking back on it now, after re-watching it a couple of times, it is possibly a little bit too similar to the original Star Wars, but that's a small gripe. The special effects, fantastic. The acting, fantastic. The visual aspect of the movie, the locations used, fantastic. The music by John Williams is brilliant. This guy really knows how to do music for movies, and Star Wars is just one of the things that I don't think you could ever take a misstep. So, absolutely, very little I can complain about here. Star Wars The Force Awakens is a truly epic movie. It's an amazing entry into the Star Wars franchise. And I'm going to give Star Wars The Force Awakens 4.5 out of 5. Star Wars The Force Awakens is a really good time at the movies, and I'm going to re-watch it again this week before I go and see The Last Jedi. It's almost here, guys. Star Wars The Last Jedi is almost here. And I really cannot wait. The Force Awakens was just the start of Disney's ownership of Lucasfilm. Rogue One came out the year after. We've got The Last Jedi imminently. Next year we've got Solo. Episode 9, which, if The Last Jedi is as good as I'm expecting it to be, is going to be absolutely phenomenal, which J.J. Abrams is going to be directing. And the long-awaited Obi-Wan movie, maybe 2020, who knows. And Rian Johnson is doing another full trilogy of Star Wars movies as well. So we've probably got 10 more years worth of Star Wars movies every year. I just hope it doesn't get too samey. But I'm confident Lucasfilm know what they're doing. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that subscribe button right now if you've not done so already, so you can see new reviews. Hit the like button, the thumbs up if you like this review. Up the top there I will put a link to my series of Star Wars reviews if you want to go back and look at all of the other movies from Episode 1, Phantom Menace, all the way through to this review. Last Jedi will be in there, Rogue One's in there, so you've got all the Star Wars reviews for all the movies that have been released. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really enjoy seeing you on a regular basis, and I'll see you really, really soon for The Last Jedi. Bye.